Okay, you can't really tell, but this is a Christmas background, I promise. Look, there's a Christmas tree. I just need something that's a little bit light and airy as a background right now because it's getting darker. And otherwise, my focus is crying. It doesn't want to do what it's supposed to do. So we're doing Christmas at the beach, even though you cannot see the Christmas tree behind me, but that's okay. Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new. Today I am updating my Pan those eyeshadows project pan. If you haven't seen the last update, I have completely rearranged this project for myself. I was doing random eyeshadows and it wasn't really working for me, so I am using the prompt lists that Makeup by Lainey made, and I've seen some other YouTubers use it for their pan those eyeshadows. So basically, pan those eyeshadows is you pick eyeshadows randomly with prompts, just by yourself, it doesn't matter, and you try to hit pan in them, or you try to hit a usage goal, whatever you want. I had been doing 15 uses or pan because I felt like I was getting bored of the eyeshadows that I had in my project really fast. So 20 or even 30 uses for me was just not doable. So I did 15. And this time it went surprisingly well. I actually did so good. So last update, I didn't even set usage goals. I was just like, let's try to hit pan, see what happens. And I can tell you a lot has happened. So if you want to see where I'm at with my eyeshadows, please keep on watching. We are going to check out these eyeshadows and we're going to roll in some new prompts. So let's go. Okay, I'm looking at my laptop right here. I don't know in what order I rolled these in. They were all rolled in last month, so it's whatever. First prompt that I have is 38 pop culture reference, and I rolled in my Star Wars The Child palette. I wasn't really sure what pop culture reference meant, but I saw something about movies and I was like, let's just pick this palette. And I rolled in the shade Sipping Soup. Sipping Soup, let's say that. And this is what that shade looks like. I'm just gonna show you right here because I seem to be catching the most light right here. So this is what it looks like. And as you can see, I have hit pan. This actually only took me 5 uses to hit pan on. I have really been enjoying this shade. And there was a dip in this already, so that's why it only took me 5 uses to hit pan, which this is great. Seeing the prompts and picking your own eyeshadows. You can also strategically pick eyeshadows that you have already had quite some use on. Anyway, really enjoyed this, and this is rolling out. 49 food themed reference. I rolled in the Beauty Bay Nikki tutorial palette, and I was working on the shade Vla, which Vla is a Dutch dessert. Wait, let me just keep that side closed. And Vla is that yellow one in the middle, and as you can see, I hit pan. I was not expecting that, actually. It has taken me 8 uses to hit pan. This was quite a pigmented, also quite powdery eyeshadow, but I loved it. Every time I put this on my eyes, I was in love. I'm really excited to get more use out of this palette because I already had this darker, like plummy purple shade in before the reroll, and I also really enjoyed that one, surprisingly. So I'm excited to get more use out of this palette. But for now, this is rolling out of this project. Then I rolled prompt 64, which was a shadow that starts with M. And I chose my Mini Controversy palette from, wow, sorry about that, Jeffree Star. And I chose the shade My Boyfriend's Purse, which is here in the corner. And you might be able to tell I have hit pan in this. Now, these, I expected them to be a little bit deeper, but I do have to say I have used this mainly in my inner corner with a tiny detailed brush. So I'm thinking that's why it was quite easy for me to hit pan in this. Like, I wasn't really struggling, you know how before I sometimes had eyeshadows and after 5 or 6 uses I was like frustrated because I hadn't hit pan yet. This I was just using every day, easily enjoying it. I've worn it all over my lid a couple times just as an easy one shadow look, be out the door. And when I hit pan I was like, oh, okay, I'm already hitting pan, wow. And then I realized I'd already used it 19 times. So I really enjoyed this. I'm not so sure about the other shades in the palette. Those will be harder to pan, but for now, this was a success. Then another prompt with a letter. I don't know why my camera keeps doing that. I'm sorry. That was 68, and that was a shadow that starts with Q. Now I had one option, and that comes from my ColourPop Honey palette. And it is the shade Queen Bee. And you can probably tell there's a pan. There's a small pan, but there's a pan. I was also not quite expecting this when I rolled this in to have pan after 1 month, but this just kept getting hard pan every time I dipped my brush into it. It wasn't bad, but it was bad enough that I really had to scrape it with a brush to pick some loose powder up and then just like dab it onto my eyes to get some sort of color payoff. I wasn't really loving this, to be honest, which when I rolled it in I was like, it's a gold, that's gonna be easy. I love golds, they are so great. Just not this one. I didn't love it. It took me some time to get used to the way of applying it, but I just like my eyeshadows to be no fuss. Pick it up with a brush, pick it up with my finger even, and just apply it and not be digging in, scraping eyeshadow with a brush and trying to pick it up, pat it on my eye, have a major fallout all over my face. You know, it was a hassle. It was a hassle. I was almost thinking about, you know, let's give this a usage goal and just roll it out by the next update because I'm not feeling it. But I actually hit pan, so I'm happy it has pan. I'm also happy it's rolling out of this project. I have used this 13 times. Oh. I have used this 13 times to hit pan. Okay, last 2 prompts. I rolled in prompt number 80, which is an eyeshadow you save for a special occasion. And I rolled in my Lethal Cosmetics 1-Up palette. This has some really stunning shades in there that are UV reactive. I don't know, I said UV reactive last video and I was like, that's sounds almost dangerous, but they glow under UV light. I, however, chose this shade Split Screen, and there is a tiny pan in there, which again, I wasn't expecting. I was actually debating on filming my update the day before, and then I ran out of time and couldn't do it. And then I was doing my makeup the next day and I hit pan. I was like, I would have been slightly disappointed if I had filmed my update and left this in, and I would have hit pan after 1 use. Yeah, So I'm glad I waited. I'm glad I ran out of time. I'm glad I hit pan in this. This is a topper shade. Honestly, I tried to get it to work on its own. It's barely showing up. It added a little bit of sparkle, but I wasn't blown away by it. Maybe I should try and use it wet. I don't know. Yeah. However, I'm happy that I got some use out of this palette, and it is rolling out of this project right now. And then the last one was prompt 85, which was outer corner or deepening shade. I feel like I was putting these in the spreadsheet after filming and then realized I rolled number 84, but I said 85. So I picked that prompt. Outer corner deepening shade. I rolled in my ABH Nervina palette, the shade of Volatile, which still doesn't make sense to me. I don't know what that means, but in my head I just still go Violate, which is not the best name for a shadow, I guess, but anyway, Violate. And it is, we're gonna put it to the side here, this one right here. And yes, there's a pan. This had a little bit of use on it. I was using this in my crease and in my outer corner, obviously, but with a fluffy brush. So I wasn't expecting to hit pan, actually, and I did. I hit pan! And it took me 15 uses to hit pan. And actually the Lethal Cosmetics eyeshadow took me 14 uses. I feel like I didn't mention that. So this also has pan, which means I hit pan in all of my shadows. I don't know if that's because I used the prompt list and picked the eyeshadows myself. I just really like the eyeshadows, and I may have kind of hyper focused on them, but I don't really know if that's a bad thing. In this case it isn't, because I hit pan in all of them and I get to roll in 6 new prompts, so I'm gonna do that. We're doing 6, so a 1, oh that's bright, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Okay, so I was checking and we had 64 last round, which was shadow that starts with M. So I'm gonna roll again for that one real quick. Okay, yeah. Okay. A few hours later. Okay, not quite, but this wasn't easy. I had some prompts that I was like, oh, I know what I want to do for that. And then I realized it could also work for another prompt. And then I realized it could also work for another prompt. So I think I figured it all out. I have swatches on my hand and I realized my hands are so dry, so they're kind of crusty. But we're just gonna try and ignore that. Let's see what prompts I rolled and let's see the eyeshadows. I rolled prompt number 16, Want to Pan. Now I chose this one last to complete the color story, but this is what I went with. And I will show you my swatches at the end after I showed all of the eyeshadows. So I went with the shade Slasher from my Beauty Bay Nikki Tutorials palette, and it is right there. This one. You know, I was debating on doing a cream matte because I always want to pan those, but I felt like that was just a safe option and I didn't want to go for that. So we're doing Slasher. Again, I now have some eyeshadows that I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to hit pan, but I'm going to try. I'm just going to try. So no usage goals yet. If by the next update I'm like, I'm gonna get bored of this eyeshadow, we're gonna put in usage goals, but for now we're gonna try and hit pan. So that is the first. Then prompt number 30 is Gray Matte. help. I rolled in my Beauty Bay Disney palette because this has a gray matte in the palette, which is, it's more of like a blue gray, not a true gray, if you know what I mean. But this is the closest I could find to a gray matte that I was like, yeah, I could maybe pan that. So we're gonna go with this one. This is the Jungle Sky. Basically it's gray, I guess, I don't know. So that one. And prompt 43 was pan Graveyard. So an eyeshadow that you've tried to pan before but didn't succeed. I actually wanted to pick this when I rolled in prompt 16, so something you want to pan. I was like, I directly thought of this eyeshadow, like I want to hit pan on that, try to do it now. But we're rolling it in for this prompt because it was in, I think it panned those eyeshadows or Project A to Z before. I'm not really sure. It is a Nabla single in the shade Circle. It doesn't have pan. It has, oh, there we go, a dip, quite a dip. But these are pretty deep eyeshadows. Can I show this? Wow. These are pretty deep pans. So I think it's gonna take a while, but I really do want to hit pan on this finally. So that's that one. Then prompt 53 was starts with C. Now I had multiple contenders for that as well. This one starts with C, so I thought of that. And then the prompt with want to pan came up, and I was like, I'm gonna use it for that. And then the prompt pan Graveyard came up, so I was like, I'm gonna use it for that. So for prompt starts with C, I actually went with my Beauty Bay Love Notes palette, and I'm gonna try and hit pan in the shade Chandelier. Just this one. This is a stunning shade. I just swatched it and I fell in love. This is kind of an easy shade because that could easily be used as a inner corner highlight. What is this piece of hair doing? Okay, living its life. So I can use this as an inner corner highlight. I think it will be easy to hit pan, but you know what? Sometimes you just don't have to make it hard on yourself if you don't have to. So we're rolling that one in. And then two more. Prompt 93 with Purple Shimmer. And this, funnily enough, also starts with a C. I'm rolling in Celestial from my ABH Norvina palette, which is a purple shimmer. I have a few pans in here, so I'm figuring we're gonna add another one, or I'm gonna try at least to add another pan. So that's for purple shimmer. And then prompt 94 is brown shimmer. So I'm rolling in my Zoeva Cocoa Blend palette. These eyeshadows are not easy to hit pan on. I've had them in project before. I think I had one or two in my A to Z project pan. I've had, I think, two in my Pandas eyeshadows, which I did hit pan, but they are deep. But anyway, I wasn't gonna make it too easy on myself, so I rolled in this shade right here, which is called Subtle Blend. Now I have used this, as you can see, there is a dip going. It will take a while before I'm hitting pan on this because you see this dip, we have one that's deeper, no pan yet. We have this one that is quite a crater, if you ask me. So it might take a whole lot to hit pan. I feel like that was way too long. Again, I'm rambling like always. I'm sorry. But, oh, my battery's now flashing. Great timing. This is the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe if you don't want to miss out on any of my other videos. I still need to show you my swatches. There we go. Please focus. Don't Die Now battery. Okay, the lighting is a little bit weird. This is the one from Aniki Tutorials palette, the Grey Matte from the Jungle Book palette, Circle from Nabla, Chandelier from the Beauty Bay Love Notes palette, Celestial from ABH Nervina, and the Brown Shimmer from my Zoeva Cocoa Blends. So now you can go. I hope to see you in my next. Don't forget to subscribe, and yeah, have a great day, night. I hope to see you in my next. I think I already said that. Anyway, bye.